but I don't know.
The crazy thing is you're most often going to see the situation where the toxic person meets the healer, the person that's not toxic, and they end up, breaking that person's heart or breaking them down. How often do you see the person that's the healer, quote unquote, not the toxic one, end up with someone they don't have to fix?
But how do we address that? That's kind of crazy. All right, so go ahead and tell us what we're talking about, E.
So the other day, me and Tafa had a conversation in the car, and we were talking about, how we both are natural healers. So we tend to find ourselves in relationship with toxic people because we like to heal. So we were saying, what happens when we meet someone or the person that we're with isn't toxic anymore, and we have nothing to fix? How do we feel? Like, are we feeling useless? Are we the toxic ones because all we like to do is heal all the time? Like, that's the part we're not ready for.
Right.
Because,
Yeah. And then
go
also
ahead.
side, when there's someone who is toxic that is used to getting a toxic person, what happens when they meet a healer or someone that is whole? How do they deal with that person?
Mind blown.
I
But
want to put effects in here, but I don't know.
the crazy thing is you're most often going to see the situation where the toxic person meets the healer, the person that's not toxic, and they end up, breaking that person's heart or breaking them down. How often do you see the person that's the healer, quote unquote, not the toxic one, end up with someone they don't have to fix? So we're all toxic in our own ways. You look at
Right.
somebody and be like, okay, they're toxic, they do toxic things. But what about you? You want to be with toxic people so you can feel some type of gratification for healing them. Like, we're toxic too.
We are toxic. We're all toxic people. But how do we address that? That's kind of crazy.
Because no one checks us. We
Right.
always checking them, you know. So who's gonna check us?
Right. So it's like, but you know what? No, 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 no. We start checking ourselves when we start meeting and being with those people that are toxic. Then we start questioning the things that we're doing. Like, am I being too aggressive? Am I being too
Mm,
upfront? Is this the way it's supposed to go? Like,
right, we get scared.
we get scared, we question ourselves, and but because we don't know the answers to those things, we push even more
Yep.
because we're trying to fix that. Whereas the person that's toxic, when they don't know the answers to those questions, they just push that person away because they don't want to deal with it.
Right.
I'm here saying the person that's toxic, however, just keep in mind we're all toxic. All right. So if you're out there listening, we are all toxic in our own different ways. It's just how we go about it. But the person who don't want to answer those questions, the person who feels uncomfortable dealing with things, they push it away. Whereas with the person that's comfortable with dealing with the questions, they question themselves, saying, am I doing this the right way?
Right. Right. It's too much. Like, life is too much. You always got to think about something. Something is always going on, especially in a relationship. And this does not have to be like a romantic relationship. This could be with friendships as well. Like, literally. My
Yep.
thing is, I feel like I became held accountable for when the person I was with was toxic and not is not toxic anymore, and now I'm having to check my own insecurities because now he's not presenting those toxic, behaviors anymore. So now I don't have anything to react to. So
Right.
then you start making up shit in your head, like, oh, you liked this person's picture 13 weeks ago. In actuality, that person is trying to do better. You're now the toxic one.
Right. Right. Because you're so used to being a healer, trying to resolve things, trying to talk through things. You're like, what to talk about now? I like,
Literally, what to talk about now. I was just having a conversation last night, and I asked my significant other.
uh,
I was like, "Do you love me more now, or do you love me more an hour ago?"
toxic.
That's I'm telling you, it sounds funny, but that's that toxic behavior of me creeping in because I've been accustomed to healing and reacting to what's been done to me. Now, things are good, and now I'm gonna make up some shit in my head. Do you love me more now, or do you love me more an hour ago?
Yep.
Because if you love me less now, I can't do this anymore.
Right. Right.
I'm done.
But that's crazy stuff. But how
Very.
so now we talk about what's the best way to address something like that. So for instance, you have someone that wants to talk about everything, wants that confirmation, that validation that hey, this is what it is. You want that verbal, whereas the other person is not is not okay with just being expressive in that way. It's just not what they do. They don't express their love
Mm,
that way. They don't want to talk about it. It's easier just to push it away. So when you have
mm,
people like that, and this could be a relationship, it could be a friendship, it could be anything. When you have two people like that, but you realize that both people generally want to make this work, but
right.
how they are is different. How they are is just different. So how do you work through that? Do one of them just stop being so upfront, or do one of them start being more upfront, or what's the middle?
Mm. I just think it has to do with compromising. Like, if I'm the person in the relationship that has been accustomed to being treated to a point where I'm insecure now I don't trust you anymore. I feel like it has to be a point where I have to click it in my head. Okay, I gotta give him a chance. I gotta trust him. And that's scary for people to do multiple times because if it doesn't work out, then I'm gonna be back here again. But if
Mm,
you want it to seriously work, you have to give it a chance again. And if the other person, the person that doesn't like communicating, that shuts everything out, that runs away when things get tough, if they want it to really work, they gotta put themselves out there again. Yes, it's very scary. Yes, you may fall on your face again. And that's what best friends are for. I'm calling you.
right.
But that's the only way it's going to work. I'm realizing that I cannot continue to hold on to the past if I want things to work in the future. If the person is trying to do better, whether it's a friendship or relationship, you have to acknowledge that. You have to be appreciative towards that. Tell that person that, I'm thankful for you doing this for me. This is what I wanted. Like, you have to open up that door to be vulnerable again. And that's a whole other conversation
It's a
about
whole.
vulnerability.
I'm happy.
But
I'm happy you mentioned that, and it's important for everyone that's listening. Important to vocalize that to someone. I'm I'm appreciative that you're doing this for me right now. I thank you very much. It means that
literally.
you're putting effort. It means that you value what we have. Like that type of stuff. It's so important to vocalize it to someone else. Eric, you made good points. When I tell you it's important for both sides to give it a chance.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I tell you, so many things start out rocky, so many things start out difficult. There's so many difficult patches and stuff. However, there becomes a point where you realize that this person genuinely wants the best for you, and you're just gonna have to give it a chance again. Yes, I'm not saying that that person's perfect, all right, and things might have happened, but you give it a chance, you be vulnerable, and if it fails again, it's a part of the journey.
It's a part of the journey.
It's a part of the journey. You grow and you move on from that.
Yep.
However, when you realize, you made it so clear, when you realize that that person is making an effort to be a better person,
Yes.
You acknowledge that.
You have to acknowledge it. You have to. It's imperative.
Yep. Yep. We have some good discussions, okay?
We do.
We really be having some good discussions. And we say all of this, it's easier said than done. This is a process. A lot of times it might take a year, it could take a day. It just depends on the individual. I'm not,
Depends. Yes.
it literally depends, but it also depends on how much you want what that other person is offering.
Mm.
So if you really, really want it, it will take you a shorter time to move on. Like
Yeah.
give it a chance. Where
Yeah.
questionable, it's gonna take you a very long time. I'm the type of person where whenever I see value in something, I could keep on moving real quick. Let's flip the switch because if I see value, I'm not gonna waste time. I
Right.
don't think I should waste time when I see value in something. Um, but that's just my personal opinion, and that's how I
Right.
deal with things. I forgive very easily. I think people have their I think people are good. I really do. And I approach things without bias. Sometimes, like most times, I approach things without bias
He do. He don't. He don't. He telling the truth.
because I feel like when people want to do something good, they're gonna do it, and they're just gonna. And I'm not gonna think about what happened before. It's gonna
Right.
stay there, but I'm not gonna hold it over the person's head.
Right.
Because we're humans and we're all learning. That's the biggest part.
Damn, this was good.
This was good. I think we should. Let me see. Oh,
Yeah,
there's
but we probably been talking for like 30 minutes. It's okay.
probably like 30 minutes, 45 minutes.
We
Wait,
just talk about stuff.
we just talk about stuff, but when we stop this, it's gonna say 10 minutes, but that's fine.
5 minutes and 30 seconds.
That's funny. If there's one advice you could give someone based off what we talked about just now, if there's one advice, what would you tell them? In terms of someone, in terms of two people or however many, they're trying to work through something. They realize obviously they might be compatible or they are compatible. It's just that they had hiccups or they're
Mm.
trying to get through something. I don't know what. What advice would you give to both sides, considering that they both want each other in each other's life?
If I had to give, you know, two people dealing with what we talked about today, any advice? One is that what we talked about today is strictly only for people you love. Don't get lust or vibes or situations mixed up with love itself. You do not need to go through this journey, this process with someone you don't plan on being with. So before you even think about this journey that you want to go on building with this person, you have to realize if you love them or not. If you love them, my advice to you is to go full speed. Do not let up, do not, you know, fall back, because at the end of the day, you do not fall in love with multiple people throughout your lifetime. You literally don't. You're going to come across friends, you're going to come across associates, you're going to come across people that you have love for, but you're not going to be in love 30 times. It's something very special. You're going to have that type of, you're going to be in love with a friend, you're going to be in love with your romantic partner, and you're going to be in love with your family. Those are sacred. So if that's what you have, you better fight for that shit, honey, because you're not going to find it multiple times.
So you're saying fight for it for a romantic person, or you're saying fight for it for anyone you feel love for?
Anyone that you feel love for, you fight for that. If you cannot wake up without thinking about that person, if that person died tomorrow and it would destroy your entire being, you fight for that relationship. Period. I think we are so accustomed because of this generation, microwavable generation, that okay, I can move on. There's 30, E's, there's 30 topics out there. No, there's not.
That's so toxic.
There's not. That's very toxic. There's not. The way you feel about that one person, if it disrupts your day, that's called love. You cannot live without that person. Your day is upset. Period.
And that could be like if it disrupts your day in a good way, or it's just causing something, you cannot live without that first.
You cannot. It doesn't matter how many times you try to move on. Everything. Your friends could be like, "You need to move on," and you just be like, "Oh my god, I cannot stop thinking about this person. Like, I can't help it, so I got to work for it." You may get burned in the process, but we're not worrying about you getting burned. We're worrying about literally you have one life to live. If you feel like it's worth it, you have to go for it. Period.
Yep, yep, I agree. I
Mish. Oh, Tapa. I messed up. Cannot call him that. His name is Tapa. Anyway, if you had any advice to give to someone or a group or a couple that is going through, what we talked about today, what would it be?
the biggest thing I would tell people is we underestimate the value of effort.
Mm,
Like it's and that could be romantic relationship, friendship, family, whatever it is. When there's effort involved, it's special. All
mm,
right. It you make that other person feel valued. You show them that hey, this is important to me. And in return, yes, that person is also going to give effort. All right. A lot of times it takes hard work. You might not initially want to give that effort, but you don't want to let go of the people that will fight for you.
right.
You do not. At the end of the day, sometimes you really got to put yourself to the side a little bit with something like this. But if you have someone that's going to go to the end of the world for you, put effort into it. That's it. If there's someone that's willing to change or make adjustments for you, put effort into it. If someone that's willing to listen to you vent and all these crazy things, put effort into it. They're in your circle. All right. Only thing I have to say is this: put effort into people. It's worth it.
Yep.
Friend, I think we just be done.
We are. It was good.
I'll call you on FaceTime later or something. All right, let's take a picture for the like. Let's how do. I don't know.
Hold on, let me get a boomerang.
If your internet keeps going in and out, this is not
It's
that.
not my internet.
Yes,
It's most likely yours.
probably not.
Most likely. You have career fucked up internet.